Namaste, and welcome to our second section with Sanjay on Ayurveda and Homeopathy. If any of you wish to contact him about particular difficulties or problems you are facing, I can give you his email address. And what is that, sir?
My email address is sanjaybhatnagar1@gmail.com. One as in numerical one.
Sanjay, Sanjay, Bhatnagar, continuing, Bhatnagar, the number 1, at gmail.com. So it's Sanjay Bhatnagar 1 at gmail.com. So to continue, it has interested me so much to understand that you are now a consultant to many doctors.
Yes, it so happened that some doctors had diabetes or their children had diabetes, and so they came to me for help, having seen or heard about somebody who had got off the insulin and medicines. So recently, this morning, in fact, I got a phone call early morning from one of my patients in the United States who owns a lot of five-star hotels of the Holiday Inn chain, and he had come down to Delhi for my treatment and took the medicine with him, and he got off all his diabetes medicines and insulin within a week of staying in Delhi. And he had arthritis as well as heart problem, severe heart problem with 64 stents in his body. And so he went back, and it's been about 9 months that he has been taking my medicines. And so this morning he called me to say that his cardiologist in North Carolina wants to take my treatment because he himself is suffering from a lot of these problems, and he's been seeing the reports, and he is just absolutely, so bowled over that how could this happen. So he said that would you be able to do that? So I said, see, I'm not doing anything commercially, but if you want me to help him, I can.
So how did you get to learn about combining these two different principles of healing, homeopathy and Ayurveda?
Through self-study. And reading up on books.
Did you try them on yourself?
Yes. I always try medicines on myself, just like any man did. And so I see the result on myself first, and then validate a claim, and then slowly to my family if they needed help. So I got my parents off a lot of their allopathic medicines. And so.
And what were their conditions?
My father passed away last year when he was like 98 years old. So he had, in his lifetime, faced a lot of health issues, heart, blood pressure. He also had a open bypass surgery, sciatica, lower back pain, arthritis, and
you were able to help him on all of those?
Yes.
In all of those areas?
Yes. So the Ayurvedic medicine that I have is different for diabetes and arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, kidneys, liver. We have medicine for ladies' problems. We have medicine for brain function, memory loss, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And so I combine that with homeopathic medicine also. And so it has been working wonders with Mother's grace. And of course, there is a whole world of criticism out there, because people tend to disregard or even ridicule something which is new and is not validated by science in the way they see it. So, of course, a lot of things are validated by the NIH, but
But we also see many drugs promoted by physicians because they're lucrative as to profitability.
yes. So, what I do to treat my family is basically, even with homeopathy, I make my own formulations. So, I would probably get mother tinctures or medicine in different potencies depending on the person's condition and his ability uh, to purchase either Indian or German variety, because homeopathic medicine is also only as good as the herb that you use, because it's made out of herbs, and so most of the commercial homeopathic medicines are made from commercial herbs, so they have not all of them are so effective. But if you are able to source homeopathic medicines from, let's say, Germany, where the herb would be organic, let's say, you can get a much better effect.
So organics are very important to you.
Yes, because to have a medicinal effect, a curative effect, it should be free of toxins and pesticides, and it should have been grown in an environment which is the most conducive for it to make it powerfully effective. For instance, one of the main herbs I use for arthritis, is it grows in its most potent form in very, very hot, arid conditions. And so from the Middle East. And so if I have to reverse, let's say, arthritis or lower back pain, I have to use that. I cannot use a variety which grows somewhere else.
In a lush climate where it can grow very quickly.
Yes, I can't do that.
and
It won't be effective.
Yes.
It needs to grow in that particular climatic condition.
It seems so clear that Mother led you in your merchant marine days
Yeah.
right to where you had to learn about the herbs.
I never could imagine that I would be doing this work somewhere down the line. It was as if the mother knew and had planned it out long before. So that she took me on this journey with everything in place, planned out, so that I could take advantage of that in my later years when I started this work. And I did the same exactly with my family. I never planned their life. It was just left to the mother uh, to to do what she saw fit, and the way things turned out. I always tell my family the way things turned out was so beautifully designed and planned, as if it was mother doing it directly. Not possible for me to do it. Not that smart, not that intelligent.
Can you explain a little more at length?
uh,
Nothing personal, of course.
no, it's just generally about bringing up your family, your children, planning their life, trying helping them along, doing things in life, and so people tend to plan things out for their children. Uh,
In fact, we're having a session on that today with Shadalu
right. Okay.
on children and education.
Okay.
There's a lot on that.
Okay. So I just left it on the mother, and it's surprising how whatever happened in their lives was something which I could not have even imagined or thought that I would be able to do. So it wasn't me doing it, obviously, but it just fell in place. It was as if she had the plan and she just dropped the blocks at the right time to build what was to be built. And so she knew that, I didn't know that. But it happened at every stage with each of our three children.
How many children do you have?
Three.
Three.
Yes.
And their ages?
My daughter is now 35. She works in Washington, D.C. I have a son who is in Australia, Melbourne, and I have another son who is also in the United States. He's just started work in Minnesota.
Oh. So back to now, how you have learned to combine herbs.
Yes.
And your studies of Chinese and Indian Ayurveda, are they very different?
Yes, they are different because what grows in the Chinese environment doesn't grow here. And so if I need, for instance, if I need Korean red Panax ginseng, which is the primary herb which I use to reduce insulin resistance in diabetes, then I have to source it from Korea. It should be organic, it should be pure, it should be the most potent form of ginseng that grows in Korea. I cannot source it from the United States or some other country. It has to be from where it is growing in its natural habitat. So similarly,
so everything is in their natural habitat.
Yes.
That you use.
Yes. So what grows in China, for instance, Chinese green tea has very, very good properties. But what grows in Japan, the green tea, is out of this world. So the the tea ceremony that they have in Japan has a purpose. It wasn't just there for ceremonial purposes. It had a lot of value. It had a lot of health benefits. And so, if you need to get the health benefits, let's say, as an example, out of green tea, you need to source the Japanese, not the Chinese version. But there are available different herbs that would grow in China better than they would anywhere else in the world. So it depends on what kind of curative um, treatment you want, what your body needs.
I'm interested in how many people you are now treating or have treated. Can you give us some idea of the numbers?
Well, I haven't kept count, and I really don't want to because it's not commercial work. So I'm not interested in numbers. And so it's only friends or family, or if somebody comes through somebody's reference, he wants to help somebody.
But now I think with our videos, you're going to get a lot of response.
Well,
at least that is my prayer.
Well, see, the medicine that I have is not is made personally for our own family use and for friends and family. As I said, it's not commercial. It's not approved by any authority in the world, and so we don't have that kind of. I don't have access to those funds and those facilities to be able to, you know, to use these herbs in that scale and to get approvals and stuff. Uh, is not something which I have done. I don't have time to do that also. So my interest was basically just to create a small dent that, well, this is possible, and to help some people out who I knew were struggling in life with various ailments and not getting help from any system of medicine. And it's been very satisfying to see that happen, and and of course help as many as I can. But as a single person, I really can't do a whole lot more because uh, let's say, for example, diabetes, I can only see one or maybe two people a day because it takes 4 to 5 hours for the education of diabetes, which I must impart to every patient, and then the diet plan and the lifestyle changes that he must make. And so it's a lot of personal effort that goes into it, and then to make the herbs for him. Uh, so,
So you make the herbs yourself
yes.
and you render them into potencies as needed in the
Uh,
homeopathic
no,
way
homeopathic.
that you get from Germany.
Homeopathic, it depends on what the person is able to afford. If he wants, if he cannot afford the German medicines, then you can buy Indian. It may not be that effective, but it depends on person how much he can pay, and so then we make the medicines according to what I feel is best suited for that person. For instance, if I can combine some homeopathic medicines for certain conditions, uh, so I make my own combinations, and uh, I have been using them on myself and my family, and the results are excellent. So, but of course, these are not commercial; they are not meant to be sold.
Right.
So I only ask for the cost price. If somebody needs help, then I can make it for him. If he asks me for help, and he can pay the cost. That's what I'm looking at.
You're doing a wonderful work. There was something you mentioned just a little while ago, and I wanted to follow up on that a little bit more. Um, how many types of illnesses have you been able to cure through your processes of Ayurveda and homeopathy?
Almost every major type.
Really?
Almost.
Really?
Cancers, brain cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancers, cancers in various parts of the body.
What about cancerous tumors in the head?
Yes, I had a lady who was an aged lady with stage 5 cancer, brain cancer. And so the hospitals in Delhi had given up on her, and she was going into a coma, and her husband could not afford to continue treatment uh, without seeing any scope of improvement. So he had brought her home, and somebody told him about me. So he gave me a call, and I gave him the treatment. And within a few months, he tells me that she's back to work. She's doing all the household work. Uh,
And
she
that
feels
was
fine.
stage 5.
That was stage 5. So like this, there are people who had Parkinson's, people who had Alzheimer's, people who had um, renal failure, kidney failures, of course, heart conditions, people who have been in the ICU with various heart conditions, and of course, diabetes. So, so when you learn a medical subject, a science, say homeopathy or Ayurveda, you cover the whole body. And homeopathy goes beyond the physical body. it's really extends to your mental states, your mental awareness, your mental, they call the brain. And so it's possible with homeopathy even to change the personality of a person. It's such a powerful tool.
I see.
So homeopathy can do that. Ayurveda also to a lesser extent. But Ayurveda is more specific. The results I get with Ayurveda for specific conditions and specific diseases are just mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. But it is, in my opinion, far superior to homeopathy, far superior to homeopathy in what it does.
In what it does.
But it doesn't do everything.
Could you give me some examples of what it does very well?
In Ayurveda? Ayurveda does heart conditions very well, diabetes and kidney problems, liver problems, arthritis, all those things which generally people suffer from. Homeopathy does a lot of these things on a little lesser scale, but for instance, if I want to treat a person with high uric acid or high creatinine levels, I would have to use a combination of Ayurveda with homeopathy. So homeopathy works wonders to do that. So like this, there are a lot of problems which people have, which I use a combination of both homeopathy and Ayurveda. PCOD, ladies' problems, a whole lot of autoimmune problems, thyroid problems. So thyroid especially is again very well treated with homeopathy, both hypo and hyper. Chest infections, dengue, chikungunya, swine flu, very well treated with homeopathy. So there is preventive medicine also, which you can use homeopathy for, so that you can.
Could you talk a little bit about that, a little more deeply about preventive medicine?
You can use homeopathy and Ayurveda both in a preventive dose. Especially homeopathy I use because there's a lot of dengue and chikungunya type of problems in our country especially. And so I give people the names of what medicine they can buy and from the market over the counter and take it in the dose which I tell them to do every morning on an empty stomach. So during the mosquito season, they are well fortified against dengue or chikungunya spread. Same also goes for swine flu and other vector-borne diseases.
How did you come to using both of these treatments, Ayurveda and homeopathy, together? Because the concern was to cure the person of his ailment. The concern was not which science should I learn, and as far as that science could contribute to the well-being of that person, I wanted to learn it. And and if it was, and because I didn't spend a lot of time in formal education, like 7 years in, let's say, Ayurveda or 7 years in homeopathy, and do a lot of patient work. So I didn't require to do all that. It was basically my own passion, and I just wanted to teach myself. And so I could use basically mother's direction on education was that you should learn what your mind wants to learn, not what the college wants to teach you. And so that is the principle that I applied, and I said that, well, if this is the goal that mother has set me, then I must use her education tools as well. And that was to study what I needed and wanted to study to achieve the purpose that she wanted me to achieve. And so happened.
And it just happened like
Yes.
this. Marvelous. What can you tell us of a few cases that were like you just told us of one where allopathic medicine doctors gave up on it and you were able to use Ayurveda and homeopathy?
Yeah, so I mean, like in diabetes, you see that all the time. So people who are diabetic, like you said, you were diabetic and you were taking heart medicine as well. So within the first few weeks, we got you off everything
Yes.
by by the use of the Ayurvedic medicine as well as the combination of the homeopathic medicines. So uh,
And you said that some of those allopathic drugs I were taking had long-term negative effects.
yeah, the side effects of allopathic medicine are well known. It is they are listed under the name of the drugs. If you see in the medical literature, the side effects are always there. Huge side effects could be there. The NIH has listed out some of the various causes of diabetes, and in that there is a study on the effects of different types of medicine on beta cell death, on beta cells, pancreatic beta cells. And so they have listed out a whole list of medicines which whose side effect is to cause diabetes. So that is the kind of education that I give to my patients who are taking diabetes medicines. So finally, I mean, to understand this just in a sentence is that you need insulin when you are diabetic. Your beta cells are dying or are dead. Like in type 1, they could be totally dead. And so you need to inject insulin, or your body needs to get that insulin from somewhere. And the only place it can get it from is from the beta cells of your pancreas. So when you take the allopathic medicine, it has to squeeze that insulin in more quantity than is normally available from the beta cells. So, in other words, it's putting more pressure on beta cells which are alive, and therefore it hastens the pancreatic failure, because that is one of the causes of diabetes anyway. And so when we start on the on the Ayurvedic medicine, as listed out in the National Institutes of Health study, the herbs are able to do a lot of things which allopathic medicine cannot do. And so, what are they able to do? They are able to regenerate beta cells, rejuvenate and regenerate dead beta cells back into life. They are able
bring them back to life.
Yes, they are able to reduce your insulin resistance. They are able to increase peripheral glucose uptake from your blood to the organs and muscles. These are things which the herbs can do very, very well. And so we have some young kids with type 1 diabetes whose C-peptide level was zero. C-peptide is basically a measure of what is your beta cell health condition, of how many beta cells are alive. And so there, the C-peptide is a protein secreted by beta cells when they are producing insulin. So if you can measure C-peptide level, you will know how much, what is the condition of your beta cells, because you cannot measure beta cell directly. And so And so we measure the C peptide levels. So we have type 1 patients with C peptide level of 0 because they have total pancreatic beta cells destroyed.
Through allopathic medicine or through the disease?
Could be due to a combination of when they got it, either at birth it was type 1 or it was type 2 which converted to type 1.5, which is uh, what they call LADA, which is happening more and more nowadays. So type 2 is converting into symptoms of type 1, where type 1 is that all the beta cells are dead. So type 2 is now converting to type 1, we call it type 1.5. So that happens later in life, in adulthood, whereas generally type 1 happens at birth or in children. And so the end result is the same in type 1 or type 1.5. All the beta cells are dead, and so the C peptide level is 0 or close to 0. And with the Ayurvedic medicine, we are able to get it to 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 within a few months, and then higher slowly. So it's a clear sign of validation of what the NIH has found in their studies, that these herbs are able to rejuvenate dead beta cells. So uh, basically what I'm doing is compilation of data which was already there. Studies were there by the NIH on these subjects, and I just pulled it out. And what were the reasons of type 1 and type 2 diabetes, also listed in those various studies by the NIH. I pulled those out, and I was able to put together information on how would be the best strategy to reverse this condition.
How long did that take you?
It took me quite a while. Yes. It was, as I said, it was a passion, so I would sometimes work 20 hours a day at different times of the day or night. And so.
And now you pretty much have the knowledge of the cure of so many of these things.
Right.
Through these combinations.
Yes.
That's marvelous. Would you see any possibility in the future for extending this to more people who are ill?
Well, it can only be done with the help and support of uh, organizations who can sponsor the work, get the approvals, get the grow the herbs, and be able to get all the government approvals necessary across the world. I myself am doing it only for myself and my family.
Yes.
But I can help somebody who would like to take it up and bring it to a global platform.
I hope this will be possible.
I hope so.
And you've helped me so much. I thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste.